Good morning, Heat Nation folks, folkettes, and everything in between and beyond. My name is Roy, the host of Mahapanies, the only host, as far as I'm concerned, in the history of the internet to fully and wholeheartedly admit that he has no idea what he's talking about, but he tries. And today is going to be my worthless half a penny, part 48. 30 games in, what have we learned? But it's also going to be a little bit of a 2024 retrospective, right, as it pertains to the Miami Heat. Of course, I'm not going to get very personal right now. In the case, I just wanted to talk about the general stats, where we are after 30 games versus where we were after 25. There was a drop. I don't know if it's a significant drop in certain areas just because of the way the league also changes its numbers, so it's a little bit more complex than that. After 25 games, we were 10-10, so we were at 500. After 30, we are 16-14, so two above 500 overall, as you probably know. We are 20th, tied, I don't remember with which team, in points per game at 111. We were 16th after 25. We are 19th at rebounds per game with 43.5 per game versus 15th after 25. We are 17th ranked in assists per game at 25.4 versus 13th place after 25. We are 6th, and we remain 6th as we were after 25 games in opponents' points per game at 108.7. The net rating is plus 2.4, so again, not particularly anything that stands out. The general gist of it is that this is still a close to 500 team. What has changed? So I didn't do a post game against the Rockets because of family circumstances, right? I had my son yesterday, and I was also working for the entire day, so it was really impossible for me to record. And when it came nighttime, I also had to teach, even though I didn't have any students as expected. But at the end of the day, I just couldn't record and I couldn't comment on what happened against the Rockets. And I want to do that briefly here because this is another unscripted, my worthless half a penny. Right now, the intention is, of course, to basically just talk away. I believe that this is the last video that we're not going to have Raf's assistance, but maybe it's going to need more time. So as long as he's out, I'm not sure if I'm going to be scripting. Maybe when I get my glasses in order, I might start doing more prompts. But teleprompts. But as far as the Heat versus the Rockets, I think that it was a very interesting game because we didn't do particularly well, but we also didn't do so awful as we did against Atlanta. So it's kind of those mediocre games throughout three quarters that you watch the Miami Heat all of a sudden in the end of the third quarter cutting the lead to 1 point. The average of the lead in the second and third quarter was again right 5, 6, 10. I mean 5, 6, 8 points, something like that. Fluctuation that with no lead changes. As far as just I think basically one, right? Miami Heat was leading up, or two or three maybe in the first quarter, I guess. I didn't see that. But of course, the Rockets came into the game yesterday. And when you have Brooks on the team, that's kind of a norm in a way, right? When you have Dillon Brooks. The truth is that they came into the game ready to get into the Miami Heat's players' heads. And there were a few instances at the beginning, the way that, if I'm not mistaken, was Smith kind of trying to block Bam from even kind of walking, and Bam, facing up to that challenge. Brooks talking on Jovic's ear, and then, of course, right before that 5-second violation that started the entire fight, Jovic actually commented with Brooks. Brooks were just pretending not to hear it because every time Brooks said something to Jovic was just smiling. And so that happened with Herro, right? And not only with Herro, but also with a person whom I think that has shown its true self to the public, and he's not a stand-up guy at all, who is Ime Udoka. He's what we call the opposite of a mensch. That's honestly my opinion of him. I don't know him. He doesn't know me. But from what is out in the media, the way that he treats people, or certain people, the way that he speaks, and the way that yesterday he thought that having the back of his team meant him being ejected along with other three players and an assistant coach. Poor judgment in general. Like, this is a guy that just has shown time and again poor judgment in general. Doesn't mean that he's not a good coach. Those are two different things. And I'm very happy because I thought they don't have to mentally handicap us, because they have the talent to win without that. And we didn't have Jimmy Butler on the floor, who, again, it's not in theory. In practice, he's the best player. Whether he's going to be a best player at any given night is a different story. But in practice, he is the best player that we have, our organization has. And so, again, Miami Heat all of a sudden found itself in a situation in which they not only got the lead, they got a splasher. They got him 4 points over the Rockets. The Rockets had a timeout. Came out of the timeout with, or there wasn't a timeout then yet, or yes, but I'm not exactly sure. Then, Miami Heat forces a 5 Mississippi second violation. And then, everything kind of, they broke. There is one thing that, if you want to trash talk, you have to cash the checks. But there are 2 main attitudes that a player takes that a player has when their game is turned against them, right? I'm trying to kind of trash talk. I'm trying to get you off of your, mental balance, mental equilibrium there. But all of a sudden I see myself losing. I have two things to do: shut up, or basically overcompensate, which happens with a lot of very, very insecure people. It does happen with me sometimes when it comes to anger. I sometimes get angry without any particular reason, just because I know I lost in something. And that's something that is an eternal struggle. It's an eternal work that you have to do. And yeah, in the heated moment of a game, things like that can happen. They don't happen enough. I mean, they don't happen a lot, but they happen, right? Now, I'm not in favor of that. But once something like that happens, you can't necessarily just be passive. You could, I guess, be passive, and that would be great for any pacifist, but that's not what the game is about. If you have your teammate being thrown to the floor, as Evan Thompson did to Tyler Herro, Rozier just leapt it right into there and then kind of saved himself from extreme criticism by the Heat fans because of a horrible performance that he had last night in the game against the Rockets. It was last night. It was the night before last. Now, not only did we win a game against the 3rd seed in the West, again against a team with a winning record. By the way, the Atlanta Hawks also had a winning record. The Atlanta Hawks are still in 6th place because they also won the last game that they played the same night as the Miami Heat. So basically, now we are 16-14, if I'm not mistaken. They are 18-15. So they're 3 above 500. We are 2 above 500. Can we get out of the play-in spot? All those are questions that we're going to kind of touch upon a little bit over here right now. First of all, there is more evidence, according to 5 Reasons Sports, that Butler is going to play tomorrow, right? We play tomorrow against New Orleans at home. I think it's a very interesting matchup for sure because, the Pelicans are technically not really there yet in any sense. But of course, it doesn't mean that it's an easy game because there are no easy games right now. And then we have an interesting stretch for the next 5 games. Let me take a look because I don't remember all of them by heart. We play against the Pelicans at home, then the Pacers at home as well. And we have another game at home. Let me see here. And the Kings at home. So it's Pelicans, Pacers, and Kings at home. And then, Pelicans, Pacers, and Jazz at home. And then Kings and Warriors away. In this last stint, it's going to be a 4, 5, 6 game on the road stretch after this 3-game homestand. So, as I said, what do I think about the Miami Heat moving forward? There's one thing, again, that I'm going to have to use 5 Reasons Sports, because when I use them on purpose, sometimes I see things that I said that by a miraculous whatever, I said the same thing as they say when I see the video later. So please, if anybody watches this, I'm not trying to rip them off. I always, when it comes from them, it comes from them. And in this case, it comes from them. Saying that the Butler camp, first of all, the Butler camp is, like I said, right, seems to be on board. You know, you see, they saw Butler and his agent playing chess or dominoes. I guess not chess, dominoes, and the premises. So you know, they kind of expect him to play, and they said that fans and even themselves had higher expectations for this team. And then I'm going to go back and say, look, higher expectations, when they say it, they mean way back. It's not just now. It's way back then when we failed miserably in acquiring another star beside Jimmy, because this front office believed that, as it were, Herro, Bam, and in a way also Duncan Robinson were ready to fill in for that superstar role, or that star role, not superstar, but the star role. In reality, we did have an all-star stretch for Bam Adebayo, not this season for sure, but I think it was 3 in a row, which he deservedly got. Olympic gold medalist, you know, having actually played minutes and impacted the game when he played for the U.S. And Tyler Herro is now, well, even though he had moments of greatness, especially in the finals against Lakers in the bubble, but he also had moments of greatness later, not necessarily that third year, not, or the second year or the third year, growing a little bit more than, you know, getting injured, and then, you know, getting out of the injury, as it were, for last season, and then not being able to command the Miami Heat, not being able to be the player that actually takes it upon himself to actually do everything. And Herro is not a guy that's going to give you 20, he's going to give you 10 points a quarter. Herro is a guy that can give you 0 points in the first quarter, 20 in the second, and 3 in the fourth. But he's still going to finish the night with around 20, 25 points. That's more or less his average this season. So obviously Herro is right now in an all-star level. I still don't think that's enough because of the nature of the team and because of certain declines. Maybe it was enough when Bam was having his career high season offensively, but it's not the best right now. So obviously, again, did a front season fumble? Yes, they fumble. I think they mismanaged assets. I think that we had a couple of trades here and there that we had to attach picks to, or acquisitions that we had to attach picks to get rid of them. Be it with, last season with Lowry, or, with other situations that right now I'm not really clear. My head is not 100% focused, but this is the time that I have to record this video, and I want to do that. But at the end of the day, as I said in the last videos, but especially in the last one, I don't think there is any player in particular that either would have come here if we wanted that player, like James Harden, or that necessarily fit with the Heat organization seamlessly, that the Heat was willing to take a chance. What is disheartening is that they were willing to take a chance on Oladipo, who was injured. He had been injured. So bringing Oladipo as a star as a second star for your team when Oladipo is healthy is a great idea. That would probably have translated into something a lot better than what we saw. Perhaps even a finals win, a ring. Literally, that's what we're missing. Same thing with Kyle Lowry. Bringing a Kyle Lowry at his career peak, even if it's in the beginning of the decline, that'll be great. But it's at the end of the decline. And even though Kyle Lowry still gives you a few games here and there, they're going to be great. He wasn't doing it for us. He just wasn't doing it for us. And it seemed like the locker room was a lot worse with Kyle Lowry at the beginning of this year than it is this season right now. So this is my retrospective. We had a horrible 23-24 season, but the worst part of that season was really in December. The rest was kind of consequential of what had already happened in December, and then the injuries, and then of course a horrible first round gentleman sweep. But coming into the season, the main idea was, as I even said, it may not look like it, but it is a new offense. And in many ways, it is a new offense, right? We still don't see Tyler Herro, for example, and most of the players settling for mid-range shots. They are still going, so, mid-range percentage and three-point percentage is pretty close. So let's go with the three-point and see if we can get more points out of that. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. Yesterday again, not yesterday, the day before yesterday against the Rockets, I just looked at our fluctuation and saw we were under 25% for a great part of the game. Now we got close to 40%, which is where you need to be, right? Around 35, 40%, but not under 30% to be able to win that game. Same thing happens. Normally when you see the other team shooting like that, the other team's going to lose the game. But again, my main point when I talk about Miami Heat right now is that Miami Heat, regardless of any failed acquisitions, and we are still in a kind of a suspended status just because of the fact that we don't know whether or not we're going to actually have Butler play at Butler's level. I think we will. I really do. I don't think that he's going to have a career regular season or comeback regular season necessarily anymore, because it's a little bit marred already with the fact that he's missed, about 15 games already this season. Somewhat marred, I guess. And because I don't trust that Jimmy Butler is going to be, I think he's going to miss more games throughout the next stretches. And then we come to the trade deadline, we come to All-Star break, and then things get a little bit more intense. That's when we want to see Jimmy Butler more engaged, but at the same time, obviously don't want to see him overexerting himself so that he doesn't get injured or overtired, because, again, if we have any chance of doing anything in the playoffs, is having a solid team with a leader in Jimmy Butler actually being playoff Jimmy. And because of the games that we've won, we lost to the Hawks playing mediocre basketball and not having somebody really stepping up to help the players that needed help, right? And then yesterday, again, right, in the mud, getting out of it, just like against the Magic, and coming out of that with a win shows that there is team unity. They may be not necessarily hyper motivated in some games. They may lose that mental balance in some games, or some players do, especially because now, not having Drew Smith, we do have a hole on defense that needs to be addressed. It needs to be patched up one way or another. That's on Spo right now to figure it out. And of course, it's too soon for him to figure out after losing Drew Smith. I think we only played 2 games after that, so it's a little bit too soon, or 3 games after that. It's a little bit too soon to say anything. But what I can say is that what I expect from the Miami Heat right now, with the current situation, with what I can expect, with what I do know, is not that they're going to be better after 35 games. It's that they're going to be able to maintain this 2, 3, 4 above 500 until the end of the season. Is that going to be enough to get them out of the play-ins? I don't know. And I don't even think that this is a team that is a playoff contender as is right now. Can it change? Yes, there are still trades to be made. There are still potential acquisitions. We need to fill at least one roster spot, right? So there are things that we need to do, and there are things that I think that could help us. Are they going to be extreme? If the question is, are we getting the Aaron Fox? My answer is, I don't think so. Are we getting any other star to help to complement this team during this season? I don't think so. Is it going to depend on Jimmy Butler's extension a little bit? Maybe, yes. But I don't know, and I don't think so. What I think is that we've begun the year. We didn't do anything significant after the end of the season. We basically continued with the same team with a couple of, one of the additions was pretty much Naz Reid, right? I'm mistaken. Yeah, it was pretty much, I think, right? No, Nasir Little, sorry. So he was just, kind of dismissed. And then Thomas Bryant, of course, traded away for a second round pick swap, not a second round pick, but a swap for 2031. And now we only have Burks, and Burks has had his two, let's say, less good career games in the past couple of games against Atlanta and against the Rockets. We'll see what's going to happen in the future, of course. We don't know, but I'm going to tell you this. Every time that I root, I want my team to win. Every time that I root, I don't expect my team to win. But while we are in the game, and when there is still a chance, I am always going to believe that there is a chance. And I'm always going to be disappointed and frustrated when we don't get to the point where we get. Because this is what fans do. Fans, real fans, the guys who talk about real fans, right? Real fans just root for their teams. Actually, no. Real fans root however it is. But there was a tradition for my team in Brazil that real fans, right, are the ones who never leave the arena. The truth is that that's not true either. You're a real fan. You are watching your team being humiliated with under a minute to go. You want to go home because you feel horrible and you don't want to watch that disaster because you already have too many problems in your life. So that's obviously not something you're looking forward to. But anyway, in my word less of a penny, Jovic has had his best season game with the Miami Heat, but also showing how much he can be good off the bench. Takes the top of the pyramid where Herro simply resides, right? I don't know whether there are now necessarily middle pyramids. I think that this team is too inconsistent. Inconsistency is still the name of the game. And I think that's the only thing that's going to remain consistent until the end of the season. So obviously, when I say I don't expect my team to win, I don't mean that I don't expect my team to win while they're playing. I'm just saying, realistically speaking, I don't have high expectations for the Heat. I didn't start the season with high expectations for the team, and I'm still going to be sad every time that they lose. This is it for me for now. What I will tell you is this. A new year is coming. And even though a new year just means we're going to go to sleep and tomorrow is just a regular day where the sun is shining, but we're going to call it 2025, it's still a very interesting and wise way to understand life. Life is made of cycles, and those cycles need to be counted sometimes one way or another. And so my suggestion right now is to count the cycles for 2025 and to understand that this is, however you want to look at it, it is a new beginning. It is a new spreadsheet. We're not going to talk about January 1st, 2025 the same way we talked about any other day in 2024. So I wish everyone a good transition. May 2025 be better than 2024, but not nearly as good as 2026. And I hope everybody celebrate well. I hope everybody that sleeps well. I hope everybody that just watches marathons, goes to party, watches movie marathons or goes to parties. Enjoy yourself. Again, it's important to try to be happy. So stay safe, stay dry, stay as happy as possible in this very complicated world of ours. Let's go Heat.